Yeah, like we had the security guard said, like, he was like, oh, just like make sure you say something on the stage, because obviously like it's not my rules to implement, but like it's the rules,
Oh.
so make sure you just mention to them on stage. So I had to say on stage, I was like, oh guys, just so you know, like you're not allowed to sing.
My name's Adam, and this podcast is about you, your journey in music, and we can talk about the new songs you've been putting out, Medicine Boy and Rapture.
Cool.
Sweet.
Sweet. Yay.
Awesome. I did read that you're originally from North England. Is that correct?
North London.
North London. North
North
London.
London, yeah.
Okay. Talk to me
Which is
about
where
that
I
a
am.
little bit. Oh,
Well,
you're at that.
I've always lived here. I've always lived in North London. Grew up here. I went to school in South London. That's about as far as I went. And then now I'm back in North London. So yeah.
What's it like growing up in North London?
It's really good, to be honest. Like, I suppose in the UK, like with music, it tends to be like people move to London to do it, obviously, because it's where everything is. So I
Sure.
obviously recognise how fortunate I am to have grown up here, because I didn't have to move anywhere because I was already here, which has been special. But obviously living in London and doing music it's just kind of amazing and kind of awesome. And I guess like since COVID, when there was nothing going on, I noticed it even more, like how it's so cultured and so much going on and so much to do and so many people, and it's just like, I don't know, I suppose it's just great to be somewhere where like I can meet so many different people doing what I do, or like people that can influence what I do. And yeah, I think it's special. I would never leave London.
All right.
Yeah.
From somebody like, I've never been there. I'm
Okay.
not very traveled, but I'm curious, is it like a city, more of a big city or a
Um,
suburb?
yeah, so it's like, it's a big city, obviously. There's the
Sure.
centre of London, but I suppose most people live around the outside. I live around the outside, but it's a like 20-minute train like into Central, and I live right by the train. So
Right on. That's
yeah.
awesome. So as a kid growing up, would you just hop on the train and head into the
Yeah,
city?
all the time. Just, and you get free travel, or like really cheap travel, when you're like under 15. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so you can just get on the train and just go wherever, and it's great. It's really great fun. It's really awesome. I've loved it. Yeah.
Is that something that you like have to lie to your parents about? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be going over to so and so's house, and then you could hop on the train and you guys would go into the city.
Yeah, sometimes. It's literally, I had to a lot, but I guess for me, like doing music and stuff, it's a bit different, because like I'd go into to do music stuff, and like I've been doing this
Sure.
since I was 13. Like I started gigging at 13. So
Wow.
yeah, I've been doing it a long time. So I've always been.
How did you get into music originally?
So I've been playing classical guitar since I was 5. So I started playing classical
Oh,
guitar when I was
wow.
5. Yeah. So I've always been into music in that sense. But like loads of people, I don't know about where you are, but like where we are, most kids learn an instrument at school, but then maybe only last like 2 years and then stop. So
That's it here. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
around 10-ish kids
Yeah. So
you can decide on like 5 or 6
yeah,
instruments, and then
it's literally the same
90% of them
thing.
stop.
Exactly. So like we all got offered an instrument or whatever you wanted to do, and I was the only one in my school that picked guitar. They all picked piano or violin, but I picked guitar.
Oh, we didn't even
My
get
dad,
those cool instruments.
really, do you
It
not?
was like flute,
Oh,
clarinet, trumpet,
that's cool though.
trombone.
No, I think that's
I-
cooler. We don't do that much here. I think that's
oh,
really cool.
really? I'd much
Yeah.
rather learn how to play piano or guitar.
Yeah, well, my dad really wanted me to learn guitar, and I was at the time, I was like, no, I don't want to do guitar because all my friends are doing something else. Like, I don't want to be the only one doing guitar, but I did
Uh-huh.
it. So I was playing guitar, and I really liked like musicals and musical theatre. I've always really liked theatre, so I started doing musical theatre around the same time too. And then I went to a Taylor Swift concert when I was like 10, and it was
Oh,
yeah, so it was
I
at
love
like,
Taylor Swift.
I do
She's like one
too.
of my favorite people of
She's
all
my
time.
favorite. So I saw her when I was 10 at the O2 Arena, which is like the
Oh,
biggest
sure.
arena.
Uh-huh.
Went there, I saw it, I was like, that's so cool. I want to do that. And then literally like the next week I started, because I'm classically training guitar, but I didn't know
Uh-huh.
like how to play chords, or like I didn't strum, like it was all picking. So I was like, I
Oh.
need to learn how to play like chords so I could be cool. So I taught myself chords off of Taylor Swift, like learn easy guitar with Taylor Swift book thing. So that's how I learned guitar. And then I started writing songs. They were not good, obviously. I was like 10, but
Mhm.
yeah, I started experimenting. And then when I was 13, I was like, I've written some songs, I want to play them. So I found like sort of local things, or like things like little competitions or little gigs I could apply for in London. Started playing little gigs and things, and just kind of been doing it ever since.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, real quick, was your dad a guitar player? Is that why he wanted you to play guitar? Or?
He can like play a bit of guitar, but he's a really big music fan. He's like obsessed with Bob Dylan. Like he's the biggest Bob Dylan fan
Oh,
ever.
cool.
So
So you
like,
listened to a lot of Dylan growing up?
yeah, and I've been to see him like so many times, more than I've seen like anyone else.
Really?
Yeah, because I'd always go with my dad.
That's so cool. Was he your
Yeah.
first concert? Do you remember?
Not my first. My first was Miley Cyrus.
Really?
Yeah.
That's rad
Yeah.
too.
It was she did a tour like when she first stopped doing Hannah Montana. She did that tour, and I went and saw that, and it was so cool.
Were you a big
yeah.
Hannah Montana fan?
I was a bit, yeah. Obviously, like I got Disney Channel quite late, so like to get Disney Channel here, you have to buy like the really expensive TV that like, so you can get all the American channels. So I think it's obviously not expensive now, but back then it was. And my parents were like, "Oh no, we're not going to get the expensive TV." So I didn't get it until I was like 10. So I was a bit late because most people, all my friends, like grew up with it, and I was a bit. I joined the party a bit late. But yeah.
What Taylor Swift tour did you see her on when you were 10?
That was Speak Now. So the
oh wow,
yeah, it was really
that's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
So have you seen her every tour after that?
I haven't actually seen her again. I haven't.
Really?
No, I haven't. I didn't go to Reputation because I think at that time I was having a bit of like I don't know, I suppose like a crisis with my own music. I was like, oh, I'm too cool. Like I was like 15, 16, and I was really into like indie bands, and I wanted to like be cool. I was like, I'm not into Taylor Swift, I'm into bands. But obviously now that I'm out of that phase, I'm like, no, I love Taylor Swift.
So do I. I love her so much. I was so bummed. So my wife and I, we spent like 4 hours on ticket or AXS or whatever it was to buy tickets to see her for that Lover. She did like that Lover Fest that she was gonna do, where she was gonna play New York and LA, and it was gonna be like the opening of this new LA stadium, and everyone was so psyched she was gonna be the first one to play there, and it was like this huge deal, and then obviously COVID locked it all down. It was such a bummer.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, she still has my money for my tickets, so if she's listening, I want to know when I'm gonna see her.
Yeah.
So, but I was bummed. I've seen her a few times, but I was really looking forward to that one. But
yeah, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to it for you. I'm so cool.
Wow. Okay, so at 13, you were already heading into London to play shows.
Yeah, and then
were you like busking, or you actually got gigs?
A bit of both. I played a lot of like outside gigs, which were kind of like busking, but they weren't really, because like I was on a little stage, but they can't just be like in the middle of somewhere, like little stage. So I did sort of outdoor ones, and then some little venues. And then when I was 14, I applied to this school called the BRIT School, which is like the BRIT Awards.
Yes.
It's funded by the same.
Really?
So BRIT stands for British Record Industry Trust, and that's the fund, and then they fund the BRIT Awards and the BRIT School. So there's this school called the BRIT School, and that's in South London, which is like an hour and a half for me to get to. But like Amy Winehouse went there, Adele went there, like loads of people went there. So it's like really cool school, but it's free. Yeah. So obviously
it's
loads
free.
Of people, so loads of people apply because it's free, and like it's really cool. So I applied there at 14. I got in at 14, and then I went there. So I started going across London every day for 4 years until I finished school at 18, and then I'm just doing this full time.
That must have been a huge accomplishment, I would imagine.
It was. It was more like the confidence boost I needed, because like when I was 13, 14, moment. Like I was trying to do this music thing, and like some people at school were like, "What are you doing? Like music, like YouTube," and they were making fun or whatever. But I really believed in it, and I think also like my dad believed in it, but my mum was a bit like, "Oh, you should probably like do your exams and like be a vet," and because that was like my initial dream,
right?
To be a vet, because I like animals. And I think getting into BRIT was validation for me, like, oh, actually I am as good as I think I am, like I could do this. And like my mum was like, oh, like other people think she's good. Like it was just like, it was a good confidence boost. It kept me going.
I would suppose, like, from coming from your mom's perspective, like, okay, like this is so hard, I'm sure, to pay, to make money and support yourself, and then obviously getting into this school where you have these legends that attend, and it's like, okay, maybe I should let her pursue this.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was the audition process to get in the school? I'm sure thousands upon thousands of people.
They get a lot. So I think the first round is like an application. So it was half like filling in sort of what have I done before. Like I played a few shows, I've written some songs, I've done like obviously classical graded exams because I've been playing classical, and then like a whole section on like just sort of asking sort of abstracty questions, sort of like, what do you see yourself doing in the future? And when you're like 14, filling in like a thing like,
Right. Where do you see yourself in 10
yeah,
years?
this is what I mean. Like normal 14-year-olds don't know what they want to do in 10 years, or like don't realistically know. But I was feeling it was like, obviously I want to do music. I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that. So there was that. And then I think they accept 600 applications to come and audition. And the audition was like several rounds. Like one was an interview, one was a performance, one was like a music theory, one was like a music oral thing, like they play something and you sing it back, like a few little tests just to see, like, yeah, but it was cool, it was really good. I was
intensive.
Yeah,
wow.
It was intense. It was a really, like, it was probably like the whole day I remember getting so nervous that I'd like made myself really ill, but I wasn't ill. I was just, like when you get really nervous, I'd given myself like a really sore throat, but I wasn't ill. I was just, I'd worked myself up for it so much. But no,
was
like,
that the most nervous you've ever been, do you think?
Probably. Like, it was the biggest deal, and like even now I'd still say that, because looking back, obviously I've done bigger things since, or like harder things since, but none of that would have happened if I hadn't have done that. So ultimately that was the biggest thing I've ever done.
Right. Because that's insane. Wow. It's weird to me that they do like a regular interview. They're like, it's like, couldn't they just listen to you and like hear your music and be like,
they want a type, they want a certain type of person, and I think they mentioned that. But when you do go there, you do realize what they mean by that. It's like, at the audition there was lots of people that obviously thought they were like the best thing in the world, and like
they don't want like the arrogant people.
They don't want people. They want people that want to go somewhere and collaborate with other people, and aren't necessarily going for themselves, but are more sort of going to go to this school to work with other people, to learn stuff. Not people that are like, I'm the best thing, you should put me in. Like,
right.
So they do pick a certain type of person, but ultimately that makes the environment much nicer. Like, there wasn't really anyone there that I didn't like. Like, I liked everyone. Everyone was really into music, wanted to help each other. And it's not just music, they do like, there's different courses. So music's the main one, obviously, because it's the most famous because of the successes, but obviously they do other things. They do like acting, they do filmmaking. They're all arts. Like, do
it's
dance.
All arts.
Yeah,
wow.
So they do dance, musical, Fame, like, it's like that.
That's
like,
so rad.
Yeah, so it's like Fame, the school in Fame, and also like Victorious, like it's the school like Hollywood Arts. Like, it's just like they got loads of, it's like an art school. But we've had other people come through other than music. Like Tom Holland was there when I was there as well. He was doing obviously acting, and now he's Spider-Man. So
yeah, wow. Yeah. Was he like he's in your grade? Like, or was attending the school when you were there?
He was older. He was 2 or 3 years older than me.
But he was still there.
Yeah, he was there. I think even in his last year or second to last year when I was first there, and I remember being like, that's because he was already famous because he'd been in The Impossible, which was the film about the tsunami.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so we all knew, we were like, oh, he's like famous, like he's a famous boy here. So yeah, I met him a few times, but he was really nice.
Was he like a big deal at the school? Like going around?
Yeah, like we had a few people that had like already done a few things, and we were always like aware of who those people were. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you met Spider-Man.
Literally,
you
I
went
did.
To school with Spider-Man.
Yeah, I went to school with Spider-Man. It's
that's
so cool.
Huge. Wow.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, is there like I know we're kind of going off here on the school, but it's really fascinating to me. Are there like Adele and like Amy Winehouse kind of like sections of the school, I would imagine, like that kind of showcasing them, or not at all?
No, they have a wall. Like, they have one wall where they have sort of some of the alumni and of all the courses though. So they had like a few, we've got other alumni, but they've all gone from my head right now. Like Jessie J was there, like a few people like that. So we have like pictures of all these people, but it just like in one board. And I suppose it's more there like to inspire you. Like, it's inspiring. Right. You go into school, you go like, oh, they went to this school, I want to be like that. So like, it's just inspiring. Right. It's not, which is nice. But there's a few, cool. It's more like a mural alumni based thing, but
Wow, okay. And obviously you learn to collaborate there, which I'm sure is huge, because it looks like you've collaborated with a lot of artists. I have. And I think the main thing that came out of that school is like all of my music videos, everyone that's been involved in them went there. So like the person that made them, so like we had filmmakers, so all the filmmakers that have ever made my music videos went to the school. All the people that are in them were doing like acting at the school. So, like the costumes that I've had, if I've ever had costumes been made by someone doing costume, like, so it's in that sense, your own little network there.
And I think that's the point, really.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's the point. It's because you meet people there, and then hopefully you can just like take your careers together, which is important.
Right, you're kind of building each other up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because even like some of the artists that came out of the school now that are touring, like really big ones, all of their band, like Rex Orange County, like most of his band were there. They
really?
yeah, it's cute. It's really nice.
That is cool. He didn't go there though, did
Yeah,
he?
he did. He was
Oh,
a
he
year above.
did.
Yeah,
Wow.
a year above me. We were pretty good friends, but when he was there, he was a drummer. He wasn't a singer. So it's kind of random that he's a singer now.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so fascinating. Oh my gosh. It's funny, when I first heard his name, I thought he was from Orange County, California. When I was
Did
from San
I?
Diego, so I was like, oh, that, and then I found out he wasn't. He's not even from America. I was like,
No,
well,
he's
that's
from
random.
South London. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was going by Rex for years. Like, I knew him as Rex, but the Rex Orange County came like after we finished. I didn't. Yeah,
oh, that's
I don't know where it came
interesting.
from, but I like it. It's
Yeah.
cool.
But
Yeah.
that's rad that you guys all, like, lift each other up. You grab
Yeah.
people from the film department and the costume department. And
Yeah.
if you succeed, then essentially everyone else does. They can put that on their resume. Like, oh, Natalie Shay, I did her video. And then it's here. It has X many views on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, everyone can add to their.
exactly. That's the best thing about it. It's just like it's
That's so
inspiring and you
rad.
meet people. Yeah. It's good. It's good. Good school.
Wow. Were you releasing songs like on Spotify and YouTube while you're attending school?
I did. I released my first one like in my first year there. I think I was 15.
Was that Follow You Home?
That was Fully Home, yeah. So I
Okay.
put that out when I was there, and no one in my year at the time would put anything out, and they were a bit like, "Oh, that's so random that you did that," and I was a bit like, "I didn't really know," but it was the first one, and like all the musicians on it were at school with me. The video was made by someone that was at school with me. The people in the video were at school with me, so it was quite nice. Like it was the first sort of collaboration I did, and I did one more track while I was there, similar sort of thing, 2 years later, called "And They Stare," and then everything else has been since I finished. But obviously,
Okay.
you're friends with everyone.
So were you getting attention from like people or management or labels or anything while you were attending the school, or
A little bit,
was that
yeah,
something that
like
came later?
a little bit. Like I wasn't at the time. I was more focused on the live thing. Like I am now, and I do see myself as a live artist. Like that's my favorite thing to do. I suppose everyone's got their favorite things. Some people like writing, some people like recording. I like playing live, like more than anything. So I definitely. It's like the live, I do what I do so that I can play live. Like I write and record music so that I can play live, because that's how I see it, because I love playing live the most. So I've always really been focused on that. And at the time I was more focused on the live thing, and I was doing quite well in the live circuit, and I built up quite a big, like I was playing like the like cool shows and getting on good sort of like industry showcases. So I was doing that type stuff, but I didn't focus too much on pitching the music until after I finished and knew a bit more. Also, I didn't really know anything. I was like 15. I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew that I wanted to do music, but wasn't really sure like how.
Well, I mean, pre-COVID, right? That was kind of the formula. Like you'd write a song, write a record, and put it out and try to play it in front of as many people as possible.
Exactly.
And now the game's kind of changed.
The game has it has, because I put my EP out in April last year, which was right at the start of everything, and I didn't even get to play any of it live until like a month ago. Like
wow.
I was so like I hadn't played it. Like I was like, I'm saving it. I'll save it. I'll wait for the big show and I'll play it live. First time, amazing. The show didn't happen, which has now been moved to this November. Like it keeps getting moved. I don't know if it'll happen, but we'll see. But
so have you had a chance to play at all? You said you played last month. Okay.
Yeah, I've had a few. So since restrictions have been semi-lifted, I've had like loads of sort of outdoorsy, like small festivals type things. I had one like pretty big gig like a couple of weeks ago supporting a band like near me. It was like 600 people, which is the most I played to in like a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, it's mad. But I did do one headline show. I did like a socially distanced headline in June, which was really great, like to be able to do that, because it was a proper show, but obviously everyone was sitting down and there wasn't as many people as usual. But that was the closest I've had to like a full gig since everything.
Was that the first one you played back in
first proper one. What
was it like? Was it I'm
it was
sure
amazing.
emotional.
Oh no, it was emotional. It was weird because it's the first time I've like said to the band like we're playing songs when all pretty much like 80% of the songs we've never played. Normally it's like I'll add in like one or two, but it's been so long. I was like, it's all new songs. I've got so I played all these new songs. It was great. Like it sold out within like 2 days, and like I guess people were just waiting to see me live like for ages. But it was lovely. It was very special, and yeah, it was just very, very special. And I guess I probably won't get to do something like that again, or that will mean that much again, because I don't think things will get that bad again. I hope
right. And I've talked to other people about this, where they've either done those like a socially distanced show or one of those drive-in concerts. And it's like one of those things, like it's almost like a bucket list thing that you never thought you'd ever have to check.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No,
like in 2019, you would never imagine that you'd be playing to people spread apart and be locked inside, and it's just something that was so unimaginable.
Literally, it's so strange, and like they're not allowed to sing back at you, and they're not allowed to cheer vocally. Like it's
Wait, what?
We had weird rules, like you're allowed to do socially distant gigs, but the crowd aren't allowed to sing. They're not allowed to stand up. They're not allowed to like go woo. They're only allowed to clap. So it was like weird little things. I guess for the spreading of voices, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
like singing and getting like your spit in the air.
Yeah, something like that. But it was weird. It's like
I haven't heard that
song.
one yet.
No, it's weird. So I'd finish and everyone would be like, I'll be like, okay, I'm like talking and no one's responding. It was just weird. It's something you have to learn. Like I never had to play a song where people can't like respond to me.
Is that still the case?
No,
okay.
All restrictions have been lifted now here. So.
Okay, that's wow. I've yet to hear that one. You can come to the show, you can clap, but you can't sing back cheer or open your mouth. Essentially,
it was like that for a long time. For a long time here, for every event, it was very much like you're not allowed to sing back or wear a mask.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. So if they heard you singing, would they come like kick you out of the show? Like maybe.
Yeah, like we had the security guard said like he was like, oh, just like make sure you say something on the stage because obviously like it's not my rules to implement, but like it's the rules. So make sure you just mention to them on stage. So I had to say on the stage, I was like, oh guys, just so you know, like you're not allowed to sing.
Weird. Oh, that's weird. I saw that you also you took a part of Eurovision.
Yeah, I was on the UK like jury in 2018, I think it was. So,
okay, you're on the jury.
Yeah,
tell me about that a little bit.
So for a long time, the votes were always on the phone, but then because it was always really political, they brought in this jury system so that half of the votes are from the public and half of the votes are from a jury, and every country has their own jury, which we judge the dress run. And then it's like the jury vote gets submitted. So when you go to the different countries and they're like, oh, 12 points and blah, 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 that's the jury vote. So so there's only 5 of us on this jury. Me and this other girl were the youngest 2 and the others were like way older than us. And we did the semi-final and the final. We watched the dress run. We sit in this room, like no phones, we're not allowed to like talk to anyone in the outside world about it. Like until it's obviously been.
Were you allowed to talk to your jury members?
Yeah, so we had to sit there. There was loads of people in the room monitoring us, but they weren't allowed to talk. So only us 5 were allowed to talk. We discussed whatever, and we'd set off a score, and that was our score. And then when they come the next day, obviously in the actual final, when they came to the UK, and we're like, "What's the UK vote?" And they were like, "Oh, 12 points, blah blah blah." That was our vote, it was cool because obviously every year I watch it and I have an opinion, but my opinion never really matters. So it was nice once that my opinion on the music.
That's amazing. How did you get that opportunity?
Totally random. Somebody I knew said, would you like to do it? Actually, I was on the like waiting list. They were like, oh, we haven't got any reserves this year. So Sophie Ellis Bextor, who's obviously famous, she was meant to be on the jury, and I was the first reserve. And they were like, you probably won't get called up, but keep these days free anyway. So I kept them free, like I was hopeful. And then like a week before, they were like, oh yeah, Sophie Ellis Bextor's not doing it. Do you want to do it? I was like, yeah, I do.
Wow.
So that's how that happened.
Wow. Well, is it all people obviously in the industry or?
Yeah, but not all artists.
No, I
was the only artist, and then we had like someone who was in. He did music, but he's the musical director of Hamilton. He still is actually. On the West End, obviously, and then we had like a radio DJ. One of the other girls, she was a songwriter but not so much an artist, and then a lady who's just, I keep coming across her everywhere. She's so involved with everything. Like she's involved with artists, she's involved with like all these sort of like platforms that champion artists and corporations and like PRS and like loads of things. She's everywhere. But
she's like a behind the scenes type industry person.
I think she was a singer like when she was younger, but now she's just so involved with like helping loads of different artists, which is it's amazing. So that
is amazing. That's cool. I heard the US is gonna like steal that idea and do something similar.
Oh really?
A Eurovision idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna like do each state like competes and then it kind of goes. I don't know, but I've heard like wind of this happening. I've talked to other artists that
sounds cool.
Submitting song, because everyone submits their own song, right? Their own original.
Every country, so there's a team like in every country that I think they like have the songs and they like eliminate songs. They pick the song and they go through loads of artists like who we can have sing it, blah blah blah. And then it's a big project, I think.
Sure. That's so cool. Did you see the Will Ferrell movie about it?
I haven't. I don't know why I
No.
haven't. I'm really into Demi Lovato at the moment. Like I was just finished watching all of her documentaries because I think she's so interesting and like really, really cool.
Totally is.
Yeah. So I think so because obviously it was mentioned in that, and I was like, I really need to see that film. So yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but I've heard either you love it or you think it's like the worst movie Will Ferrell's ever done. So I guess I would assume that you'll probably like it because you are familiar with the format of Eurovision. I would think that maybe people from here don't get it as much, but yeah, that's cool that you're involved in that. One of 5 people. Wow.
It was cool.
That's kind of a rad thing to be a part of, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and it was really special, and obviously I couldn't tell anyone, so I know nobody knew I'd done it. And then on the night of the show, I like when the actual final was on the TV, I had my own show that night, so I came off stage and like someone messaged me saying like, oh my god, were you on the jury? And I was like, oh my god, like I told my friend, but she told someone, am I in trouble? And they were, and I was like, how do you know that? And they were like, oh yeah, they just said your name on the TV. I was like, oh okay, that's fine then.
Wow, cool.
I was so panicky. I was like, oh god, someone's told them, like I'm gonna get in so much trouble.
I'm busted.
Yeah.
Were you like being filmed, or was it just like here's the judge's names?
It was just our names, but it opened the show like Graham Norton was like, yeah, he said like, here's the jury this year, and they said my name, but at the time it was a bit random because I was like 18 and like hadn't done so much, so it was I guess it was quite random, but no, it's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the Naked EP real quick. Is that obviously something that you had written and recorded prior to COVID happening, and in hopes that you'd be able to tour it?
So it was written the year 2019, like early 2019, and then I had it ready to go, and like I had 2 singles out, and then COVID hit, and then I was like, we did have a chat, we were like, oh, should we postpone it until after COVID? But as it turns out, like after COVID isn't a thing, so I'm glad I just put it out anyway.
Yeah, it's still COVID. Right?
Yeah, it's still COVID.
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah, it was okay. I came at a time where, you know, when everyone at the beginning was like, yay, everyone online releasing things, like it came when the buzz around sort of being creative was a good thing. So in terms of online, it did well, but obviously I was meant to, like, I've never been to the States, and I was meant to go to the States last May. And I had like 2 weeks in LA planned. Like I had little shows and like some stuff and like little interviews and things. And I've never been, and my rule was always I'll go to America when like my music takes me there. Like I feel that's really important to me, maybe a bit pretentious, but like that's really important to me. Like
sure.
Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
I'd like to go there for work. Like obviously I could go whenever, but I want it to be for work. I want it to be like the music took me there, that's important. Like so I was like all ready for my first one, like so it didn't happen, but I'll do it later.
Yeah, we would love to have you.
Yeah, I'll still do it.
I just moved from Southern California, LA area, or San Diego, which is about 2 hours south, and then my family and we just moved to Nashville, so another music city that maybe you'll be able to make it to.
I'd love to go everywhere, but I'd like the music. For me it's important that the music takes me there. I suppose when you do music and it's not like, I suppose like with a job, it's like salary or like position is a marker of success, whereas in music it's like there's not really markers of success, it's kind of all checklists. So, so for me it's like part of the checklist is music has to take me around the world, and that's a checklist. So yeah.
That's cool. Have you been able to play outside of London?
I've done a bit. I've done France a few times. I've done Paris a bit more. So like when I was a bit younger, I did a few bits in Paris, like with Gibson and like Gibson guitars. Yeah, I did some cool stuff there, but I haven't really been anywhere else yet. But I'd like to. That's the plan.
Sure. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, obviously COVID shuts down this tour and everything with that record. And how quickly do you start writing some of these new songs, or these songs that you already had prior? Or how did that affect you creatively?
It was a bit of both. That around, so maybe like I had 2 months working, like putting the EP out, so I was busy and I wasn't bored. And then sort of after the EP campaign ended, I was like, right, maybe I should think about what's next. Like it doesn't look like this COVID thing's ending, so I need to think. And then they allowed in the UK, you could, because we were currently at the time we weren't allowed to see anyone or hang out with anyone, but then they allowed you could work indoors. So I was like, okay, that means I can go to a studio and actually write a song. So there was like a window, and it only lasted maybe 3 weeks before they locked it all down again. So in that 3 weeks, I planned like every day. I was like, we're going to write a song, and I went everywhere. I went all over the country, write with all the people I wanted to write with. And in those 3 weeks, I wrote like 3 of the songs that are on this EP. So
wow.
Yeah, so it was good. So the first one was Medicine Boy. I wrote that with someone in that time, and then we didn't even like, luckily I liked it so much we recorded the vocal on the second day. That instead we were meant to do 2 days of writing, but we wrote the song on the first day. I said I love that song, let's record. So the second day we recorded the vocal, but it was lucky because I wouldn't have actually had a chance to go back and record the vocal if that's like, because the way that things worked out,
the way
like
it worked out, if it would have shut down, then you would be sitting on it, right?
So so we're really lucky to have done that, because then we could finish the production remotely. Like all I need to do is give an opinion, like so so we did the rest over Zoom. But so I wrote that in like the first week. Then the next single, New Wave, which is coming out in like 3 weeks from now, on the 2nd of September, I wrote that one like a week after that. The same sort of thing. I was like, I really like this one, although we didn't actually get to record that one until kind of recently, but I knew that I wanted that one out. I liked it.
Okay. So you were doing a lot of the writing over Zoom after the fact, after you got to cut Medicine Boy, and then you waited till everything kind of for the new single, you were actually able to go into the studio and record it. It just took a while.
We did it maybe, I don't know, just before we had another lockdown at Christmas. I think it was right before that one, like October. So there's been so many. I can't even remember when is this gonna end. I don't know, but you don't really know if, like, at the moment, obviously all restrictions have been lifted here, and we're all kind of like, yay, it's over. But like, you have to remember it might not be over, because it's not over everywhere. It's only like it can come back, and
it's lifted here, and like they're doing festivals, and like Lollapalooza happened, and coming up the beginning of next month is Bonnaroo, and I just saw in a thing that you have to show that you're vaccinated or like a negative COVID test. I don't know how recent the negative COVID test has to be. I'm imagining it has to be from,
we
like,
have
that
day
like that. Or something.
Because we've got these little like rapid tests, and everyone's got loads of them. Wherever you go, they give you a box. So we're at home now, we've got like boxes.
Oh, really?
We just keep given them, because it's like, for most things at the moment, like work here, it's like you have to do one on the day and show, like, which I guess is good.
Right. But at least they're providing that for you.
Yeah, we get them for free, pretty easy. Like, they're just a little swab, stick up your nose, put it on the thing, like, but we can get them anywhere. So
here it's still kind of a bit of a mess to try to do it. You have to like go into like my younger son was going to gymnastics camp during the summer, and they got closed down the last week, and they said, oh, somebody had COVID, and they were going to do a thing where you show a negative test, and like, just to get them the test, it was like we had to schedule an appointment and go to this like minute clinic thing and then do it. It was like, you can't just go into like a location and say, I want a box of these things. Like, it's not a deal yet.
It's good. It's a really good thing that they've managed to get, but I feel like the accuracy of them is not totally right, because I also have friends that have got COVID and they've done these tests, and the test has said they haven't, but they have, because they did a proper test, and they
really?
Yeah, so they're a little bit, but like, if they shoddy. Do,
but at least
they can probably save a few lives, so it's okay.
Sure. And maybe you'll get you into a festival.
Yeah, exactly.
As horrible as that is, but
exactly.
Wow. Oh man. Okay. So, well, at least they have those. We don't, like I said, we don't have that here yet, unless I'm not aware of it.
Maybe they haven't quite reached there, but they're kind of new in the last like month. They've been a thing, but they're really good. They seem, it's like, makes total sense, to be honest.
Sure. So, it does. I mean, you just attach yourself, stick it in the thing, negative. Okay, cool. I can go do whatever I need to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. I think they're rolling out the whole, like, if you've been vaccinated, you get like a thing on your app, because we've all got like an app, like a COVID app thing, like from the NHS. So
it's like that movie. Have you seen what is it, Pandemic, where you have to get like the tattoo, and like it's like before you go in the store. Yeah, it's bizarre. It was like a movie that from obviously before this all happened. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
At one point that you get like a vaccine, and it's like I think it's an invisible tattoo or something. And at the very end, as I spoil the movie, he has to go into a store. You have to like, he's like going into a store, and they're like, like they scan him in.
Oh wow, that's so scary. And like, it's like the Simpsons thing, isn't it? How they like.
Yeah, it's weird. But I mean, the app thing, I guess that's kind of cool. It's just like, here, then you don't have to carry that card around.
No. But
wow.
I think the vaccines have been pretty good here. Like, I had mine really early. I don't know why I had mine. So because obviously, like, I'm 22, so I'm meant to be like now, although I had mine in like February. I literally had mine. Yes, but I think because my parents are kind of old and they got theirs, I feel like there's a link there.
Sure.
I did ask when I got there. I said, do you know why I'm here? And they were like, do you have health problems? I was like, no. And they were like, oh, maybe you just got lucky. I was like, yeah, okay.
They didn't even question it. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I was obviously lucky, but most people I know have had at least one now anyway, because you get
That's
two.
good.
So.
Yeah. You got to get two. Well, that's good. I'm glad stuff's starting to open up there. It sounds like even more so a little bit than here in that sense. But
yeah, I guess there's less people to vaccine.
Sure. Wow. Well, okay. So you have another song coming out this week, you said, or next week?
In 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Sorry.
Well, I don't remember when this is coming out, but it'll be on the 2nd of
Whenever.
September. That's when it's coming out. So yeah, I think that's like one of my favorites. I mean, they're all my favorites. Obviously, I wouldn't be putting them out, but it's one of the favorites.
Tell me about the song. I mean, it was written after this lockdown happened. Any influence on the song?
A bit. I've been writing like recently. Obviously, I've been preparing for the press releases. So I like to do like written pieces, so that if I do get asked interview questions like written ones, I can always reference what I wrote before, so that I can kind of So I like to write these sort of like paragraphs about them. So I've been writing the one about this one yesterday. So I suppose if the song's called New Wave, it's essentially about like that period when you first realize that you've got like new feelings with someone, and like that little butterfly is exciting, but also like you're scared and it might not go anywhere, so you kind of got to be like, well, I'll enjoy the feeling whether it goes anywhere or not. So it was kind of about that. But I guess when we wrote it, because when I go into a session, we chat for like hours about what's on our minds, and then we'll be like, what should we write about from what we just chatted about? So it was kind of a mix of that, but also I'd said that this year I'd been thinking a lot, because I don't normally think. I think like about tomorrow, I can get through tomorrow, and I'm already like got loads of things to think about, and it's great fun, but I don't normally just sit and think about like, what's my purpose, what am I doing here? And like suddenly all my work had gone, like all the things that I thought were my purpose. I've always been playing shows since I was 13, like every week since I was 13, and suddenly I didn't have any shows. I was a bit like, okay, like that's weird, like what am I actually doing? Like so I was having all these crises, and I was thinking like, I really thought I grew up. I think I made myself grow up. Just I suppose growing up is just realizing things. It's not really like maturing. It's just understanding the world and realizing things, and in that way you mature. So I think I was telling her how I feel like I'm on to like, I think a new me, like a new vibe, just a new wave. So then there you go. New wave. So there you go. So it was kind of about that. Like obviously it was about a relationship, but it's not just that. It was more, I felt like it feels like a new thing, like a new. And I think that's true. I think that's how I have been. I'm definitely a bit different than I was before, but in a good way. I realized what I didn't like about myself, and I changed it, and I realized what I did like, and I'm confident in that. So,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good outlook. Was that, so you talked about, talking with whoever you're co-writing with or writing with for like a while prior to starting the song.
Yeah.
When you wrote over Zoom, or have you wrote over Zoom, and was that a lot different? Like you have to like, is it like business right away because you're sitting here, or is it like you're still chatting?
A bit of both. Like we'd still chat a bit, but I suppose like chatting on Zoom's not the same as chatting in person.
Right.
But obviously I obviously love doing in person, but I can't totally shun the Zooms, because I did write some pretty good songs on Zoom with some people that it really, really worked with. But then again, there was more chance of them not working out. Like normally I'd say there's a sort of a 70% success rate within in-person sessions that like the song's good, and maybe 30% aren't, whereas at Zoom I'd say it's probably like 50%. Like
really,
because it's a bit harder to like vibe if I'm here in my room and they're there wherever, and we're like playing and there's a delay. Like the delay is the problem. Like we're trying to sing the song together and like only one of us can sing. Right. So yeah, that's what's. But yeah, I feel I probably wouldn't, unless like actually I've actually got a session booked in with someone in Nashville like coming up. So
cool.
That's why Zoom's useful, because I can't just go to Nashville for one day.
Sure, you can collaborate with people all over the country, or all over the world, really.
Exactly. So for that reason, it's been good. It's been good that that's now a thing, because it means I can write with people and not have to go all the way there for like one day, or be like, oh, I can't write with you because you're all the way there. So it's, in that sense, it's open doors. But obviously I still prefer being in a room with someone and jamming and writing a song.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you said these are all going to be a part of an EP coming up?
Yeah, so I've got another EP ready. The only reason I'm kind of holding off announcing when is just, again, with COVID and stuff. Like I've done one EP in a lockdown, which is fine, but doing two, I'd rather just not. Yeah, I'd quite like to be able to do the next one properly. And obviously like most of making the money back is the tour, and I'd quite like to do that this time. So
Sure.
yeah, and it's the fun, like you write something and you want to play it and people are excited by it. Like I missed that, and that was important, and I didn't have that with the last one, so I want that this time.
So this one's done, the record's done.
Yeah, so I'm just putting the singles out, and then as for the final EP release date, that will be, I think it'll be a bit clearer by the end of the year, like what's going on with the situation in the UK and shows. But if my show goes ahead in November, then hopefully the EP will be around then. So that's the plan. Yeah.
Exciting. And are you writing? Sounds like you're already writing what will become like
a
next.
I'm always writing. I feel like I've got the next one like ready to go, and the one after that. Like I'm always like, I've always been a bit like, I want to like plan everything out, and obviously I'll swap songs in and out as I write better ones or change as a person or whatever, but I like to always know like what I'm working for or have a plan. I think it's good to always have a plan, because then if you meet someone like to potentially work with them like a business basis, and they're like, what have you got coming next, or what have you got planned, at least I can tell you like what I want to do. I know that I want to put this out and I want to do this, and like it's good to know. It helps rather than be like, oh, I had an EP and now I don't really know. Like I want to,
you have like kind of a roadmap. You know where you're headed.
Exactly. If it sticks to that or changes, it doesn't really matter. But it's good to just have some sort of idea, I suppose. I don't really like living not knowing like what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Well, I can't wait to hear the song coming out, and I love what you're doing. Yeah, the last
thank you very much.
Songs are amazing, and I appreciate you taking time to talk with me today.
No, thank you for having me. I was really happy when they sent through and said that you wanted to have me on. I was like,
of course, this is awesome.
I was so pleased. This is so fun.
Yeah, I do have one more question for you.
Okay.
I want to know if you have any advice to aspiring artists.
Yeah, I think the main one, everyone says it, but it's so true, because obviously I started so young, and when I was young I had less, obviously like branding's a big part of everything, and now I'm older, I can look at a branding and be like, that's branding. But when I was like 13, I didn't have branding. I was just me like singing, and so many people I met along the way that probably weren't quite good people, as like wanted to change what I was doing. I was told constantly like, stop playing guitar, like, do you dance? And I was like, I don't really dance. And they'd be like, oh, well, you should stop playing guitar, like all this stuff. And there was times where like I thought about it. I thought like, oh, this person really knows what they're talking about. Maybe I'll stop playing guitar. Maybe I'll start writing different music. And I think the main thing I've learned, like, yeah, maybe I could be like mega famous if I'd have done that and worked with that person, but I wouldn't be happy. Like, I'm really happy with what I do now. I like the music I make is what I want to make, and that's the most important thing. So I'd just say to anyone starting out, pick what you want to do. Just do that. Believe in that, because yeah, you could sound like someone else, but ultimately the staple artists, like through time, they always only sound like themselves. They don't sound like someone else. They sound like them. So it's really important if you to do what you want to do, and to just put music out as soon as you can. I think that's another thing. Lots of people sort of seem to wait for like someone to knock on their door and be like, oh, would you like to put music out? Like I started at 15. I just wrote this song, I recorded it, and I was like, well, I'll just put it out then. Like, what am I waiting for? So I did. And like, yeah, it didn't make me like number one in the charts. And now looking back, it's not my best song, but I wanted to do it, and I learned a lot from it. And every release I've learned so much how to do the next one. And there's never too early to start learning. You got to start learning, because it really will help. I'm really, like, every time I do anything, I learn so much. Like the EP, I learned so much, and now like for the next one, I know what I'm going to change, or what I'm going to do more of, or what works and what I'll do better. And I like learning. Bring it back.